This is King Charles's worst nightmare, an AWOL Fergie that spills the beans.
Yes, you did actually predict this, Mark, the other day, and I disagreed with you, and I hold my hands up. I was wrong, because you did predict, rightly, that there's a chance Fergie might go rogue. And what The Sun is reporting today is that courtiers are equally as worried she might go rogue, because, of course, she's been completely cut off.
King Charles is staring at his worst nightmare, and it's wearing Fergie's face. Multiple television networks have reached out to Sarah Ferguson. The numbers being discussed are substantial, six-figure sums for a single interview. And the word coming from inside palace walls is one they reserve for genuine emergencies: panic. Mark, you predicted this exact scenario days ago. I disagreed. I said it wouldn't happen. I was completely wrong. What we're witnessing now is precisely what you warned about. Sarah Ferguson weighing her nuclear option. Subscribe immediately, because once she accepts one of these offers, we move into crisis mode. What she could disclose might reframe decades of carefully protected royal secrets. Let me show you what's collapsed around her in just a few months. Title: stripped. Home: being taken away. Income: severed. Royal Lodge, where she lived for 20 years, must be emptied by January's end. Her children's book was pulled before it reached stores. 7 major charities publicly cut all connections. And now television executives from America and beyond are presenting her with life-changing money. Money she desperately needs. According to The Sun, these aren't token amounts. These are offers large enough to solve immediate survival problems. But sources close to the situation say this transcends finances. TalkTV's Mark Dolan told Sky News Australia that Sarah feels betrayed. She believes Andrew's connection to Jeffrey Epstein didn't just ruin him, it destroyed her life by extension. And she wants millions to hear her truth. Activate your notifications now, because if she signs with any network, what follows will move at lightning speed. Contracts, announcements, royal responses. You'll want real-time updates the second anything breaks.
She's probably still negotiating her living arrangements with King Charles. But as you said before, the thing is, when money's on the table with Fergie, she cannot resist money. She spends far too much. She's in terrible debt all the time. Her children's book has just been pulped. That was obviously something that she was really hoping would be a financial lifeline for her.
Now here's what's keeping senior palace aides awake at night. One courtier told The Sun there's genuine fear she might go rogue and create serious problems, not just for Andrew, but for King Charles, Queen Camilla, potentially other senior royals. Pause on that phrase for a moment. Going rogue. That's not concern about minor criticism or hurt feelings. That's fear of specific revelations, specific secrets being exposed. And think about what Sarah Ferguson actually witnessed over 3 decades. 10 years as Andrew's wife. 20 additional years living under the same roof at Royal Lodge. She observed the meetings, the international travel, the financial transactions, the lifestyle choices. She knows who visited, who telephoned, who enabled what, who looked the other way. If she concludes that information holds more value outside the palace than inside it, there's no mechanism to stop her from sharing it. One palace source admitted the harsh reality. They can be worried all they want. There's nothing they can actually do to prevent this. So what's holding her back from immediately cashing in? Her own advisors are absolutely terrified of recreating what they're now calling the Andrew disaster. Do you remember his Newsnight interview? The one where he claimed he couldn't sweat due to adrenaline overdose in the Falklands War? Where he provided an alibi of being at Pizza Express in Woking. That interview didn't just go badly, it destroyed him completely. It forced Queen Elizabeth herself to personally strip him of military honours and royal patronages. Sarah's team knows that one defensive moment, one unconvincing explanation, one poorly worded answer could finish her permanently. As you mentioned earlier, she's already lost absolutely everything. No residence, no status, no financial security. So realistically, what's preventing her from accepting a massive television paycheck? Especially if someone like Oprah Winfrey is making the offer which sources have suggested, she'd be foolish to turn it down. But here's the dangerous element nobody's fully grasping.
Because, of course, she's been completely cut off. She has no house, no status, no money. So really, actually, what else is there for her to do? And if somebody like Oprah is coming forward with a huge money offer, then, actually, really, she'd be a fool not to take it.
Sarah herself is reportedly feeling confident about doing this interview. A source told The Sun she's quite keen to answer questions because she sincerely believes she's done nothing wrong. That confidence is exactly what makes this dangerous. Andrew also believed he'd done nothing improper. He thought reasonable explanations would make people understand his position. The entire world watched how catastrophically that ended. So what would she actually say in this interview? Sources indicate her main strategy is creating separation, clear distance from Andrew's choices and actions. The narrative she's preparing goes like this. Why would anyone tell her about criminal behaviour? She's a mother of 2 daughters. That's her defence shield. She'll acknowledge knowing Epstein. She'll admit accepting his financial assistance. But she'll claim complete ignorance about his abuse of victims. Except documentary evidence exists that complicates this story significantly. The emails where she called Epstein her supreme friend. The same messages that triggered her removal from charity boards and caused publishers to cancel her book deal. Her explanation for writing those emails? She only wrote them because Epstein was threatening legal action against her. Fear forced her to write that way, not friendship. But consider this carefully. If you're genuinely terrified of someone threatening to sue you, do you refer to them as your supreme friend? Is that how frightened people communicate with their alleged intimidator? Or does that language reveal something closer, something more familiar? That exact contradiction is where any skilled interviewer will apply maximum pressure. If you're not subscribed yet, subscribe now, because when this interview gets officially announced, everything accelerates. Media coverage, palace crisis meetings, public speculation. We'll be analysing every development in real time. Charlotte, what aspects do you think she'll address? I believe she'll definitely discuss that specific email to Epstein, where she apologised for calling him the P word and referred to him as her supreme friend. And I expect she'll try to justify it by claiming she wrote it under duress from his legal threats.
This interview happens, Charlotte. What might she say?
I think she's very likely to discuss the email that she sent to Epstein saying, "You're my esteemed friend, I'm sorry for calling you the P word." And I think she's going to try and justify that by saying she was threatened by Epstein.
There's another complication barely being discussed in media coverage. Andrew will not support this interview. Sources indicate he fully understands that Sarah's only path to public rehabilitation requires making him the complete villain. She'll need to portray herself as deceived, kept uninformed, manipulated by him. One insider stated it directly. This interview would be Sarah's chance to distance herself entirely and claim she knew absolutely nothing. In other words, her survival depends on publicly throwing him under the bus, and she's apparently willing to do exactly that. Andrew has spent months trying to preserve whatever shred of dignity remains. Watching his former wife systematically destroy him on international television would shatter that entirely. But she's proceeding anyway. Oprah Winfrey's name has emerged as a potential interviewer. Sarah appeared with Oprah twice before, in 1996 and again in 2011, but those were warm, supportive conversations. This would be completely different. This would be someone attempting to rescue a demolished reputation under intense global scrutiny, while audiences watch for any crack in her story. And Mark Dolan said something crucial about the bigger picture. This entire scandal threatens to overshadow Charles's entire reign as monarch. Think about what this means for King Charles specifically. He's invested his early reign in projecting stability, modern, streamlined monarchy, controlled public narrative. The Andrew situation already created significant damage he's still actively managing. Now imagine Sarah Ferguson on American primetime television discussing royal scandals, Epstein connections, and alleged abandonment by the institution. It would dominate news cycles for weeks. It would resurrect questions about who knew what and when. It would invite public speculation about whether senior royals deliberately ignored warning signs. It would hand critics powerful ammunition to question the legitimacy of the entire monarchy. But Sarah reportedly sees no other option available to her. One source stated plainly, she needs to secure money and housing by January. The deadline is approaching rapidly. If she's going to monetize her story, its value is at maximum right now. And here's her internal calculation. Her reputation is already in absolute ruins. Charities have rejected her. Publishers have dropped her. The royal family has expelled her. What exactly does she still have left to protect? From that perspective, a tell-all interview isn't risky. It's strategic. If executed well, she rehabilitates her public image and secures desperately needed funding. If it goes poorly, her situation doesn't get worse than it already is. One source captured her thinking perfectly. Andrew has had multiple chances to tell his version of events. Now it's Sarah's turn. So here's exactly where we stand right now. Sarah Ferguson is actively reviewing six-figure proposals from television networks across multiple countries. She believes she's been unfairly punished for someone else's crimes. She wants to explain her position to the world. And palace insiders are watching helplessly, knowing they lack any power to prevent this from happening. The question isn't whether she'll accept an offer. The question is when she accepts it, and how much institutional damage she'll cause when she finally speaks. So here's what I need to know from you. Should Sarah accept this interview opportunity, or is she walking straight into the same catastrophic mistake Andrew made? What's the single question you think she absolutely cannot afford to answer poorly? And do you genuinely believe she knew nothing about Jeffrey Epstein's crimes? Drop your answers in the comments below. I'm reading every single response, because this decision will determine everything that happens in the coming weeks. And hit that notification bell right now, because the moment this interview gets officially scheduled, the palace will activate full crisis response protocols. Emergency meetings, damage control strategies, carefully worded statements. We'll be tracking every move, every palace response, every attempt to minimise the fallout. While Sarah Ferguson weighs this high-stakes gamble, she's simultaneously pursuing a completely separate survival plan. Secret novels written under a false identity. Anonymous publishing designed to generate income while hiding her real name. Click the video on screen to understand why she's running both strategies at the same time. Because when you're this cornered, this desperate, you don't depend on a single escape route.